from the 101st prepare to jump into Normandy. The Nazi Party has taken over Europe and a world threat seems imminent. These boys are going to give them the what for. After the jump to Normandy, the Screaming Eagles will go on to fight at Market Garden and the Battle of the Bulge. The tenacity of these fighting men will prove to be too much for the Germans, and thanks to the contributions of the 502nd and the 101st, the Allies will win the war. The members of the 502nd Parachute Infantry Regiment went to war on June 6, 1944, and did not return until the war ended. The men fought across the European theater through France, Holland, and Germany, meeting a formidable enemy presence. The men of the 502nd would fight on until Victory in Europe Day. As the war in Europe ended, they prepared to enter the Pacific Theater. The surrender of Japan on September 2, 1945, would signal the end of World War II and bring the 502nd home. The division would then be deactivated in December of 1945. The unit had 2 Medal of Honor recipients and received 2 Presidential Unit citations, one for Normandy and one for Bastogne. The unit also received the French Croix de Guerre and the Belgian Croix de Guerre for actions in Normandy and Bastogne.
Within 2 weeks of our arrival, we were sent northward to our first combat operation. It was mid-August. We hadn't even set up our own permanent base of operations. While the Vietnamese celebrated Festival of Lanterns, we moved into the Kinyan to An Kee, into the Central Highlands. Our mission was to clear and secure the An Kee area base camp for the 1st US Cavalry Division, Air Mobile, which would be arriving in a matter of days. After months of training, this was it, the moment every man knew would come. A Viet Cong main battle force had been reported in the area. The airborne infantrymen expected instant contact, but it didn't come. The Viet Cong were evasive, buying their time. This was our first lesson in Vietnam. No big battles, unexpected. Instead, nagging war, primitive booby traps, and snipers. Small unit actions and ambushes in the jungle. Only when he thinks the situation is favorable will the enemy show himself in force. The long, hard task of smoking out the enemy had begun. By the end of September, we'd killed 600 Viet Cong. We lost some men, but the job got done. Our big mission came in the new year, when we deployed north to protect what was known as the Rice Bowl in Tut Hoa. It has the richest rice fields in the south and provides food for all central Vietnam. The Viet Cong had seized the harvest, collected unbearable taxes from the scared farmers. Codename Operation Van Buren began and was search and destroy. The cowardice enemy hides in the underground sanctuaries and evades. But we mercilessly searched on and off and made it difficult for him to hide. Operation Van Buren became Operation Harrison. February became March, and daily we patrolled. Enemy force headquarters were located and hit with B-52s. In 90 days, we gained control, killed 516 Viet Cong troops, and crops were saved.
When Johnny comes marching home again, hurrah, hurrah, we'll give him a hearty welcome then, hurrah, hurrah. The men will cheer, the boys will shout, the ladies they will all turn out and will cheer the day when Johnny comes marching home. Johnny comes marching home. Get ready for the Jubilee, hurrah, hurrah. We'll give the hero 3 times 3, hurrah.
War. Let us now reward all the children of Abraham who hunger for a comprehensive peace in the Middle East. Let us now enjoy the adventure of becoming fully human, fully neighbors, even brothers and sisters.
So we pray, receive, O Lord, into your heavenly kingdom the men and women of the 101st Airborne, the men and women of the great and fabled Screaming Eagles. We wonder how this could be. How could it have happened and why? We wonder at the stark tragedy of it all, the enormity of the lost. For lost were not only the 248, but all of the talent, the wisdom, and the idealism that they had accumulated. Lost, too, were their experience and their enormous idealism. Who else but an idealist would choose to become a member of the armed forces and put himself or herself in harm's way for the rest of us? Their commitment was as strong as their purpose was pure, and they were proud. They had a rendezvous with destiny and a potential they never failed to meet. Their work was a perfect expression of the best of the Judeo-Christian tradition. They were the ones of whom Christ spoke when he said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God."
Elements of several elite U.S. Army units have arrived in Saudi Arabia, the vanguard of a combined air, sea, and land force designed to help stabilize the turbulent Middle East. Their aim is to protect Saudi Arabia and to get Iraq's Saddam Hussein out of Kuwait. But there are no signs that Saddam is about to back down.
Good evening. Yesterday, after conferring with my senior national security advisors and following extensive consultations with our coalition partners, Saddam Hussein was given one last chance, set forth in very explicit terms to do what he should have done more than 6 months ago: withdraw from Kuwait without condition or further delay, and comply fully with the resolutions passed by the United Nations Security Council. What we have seen is a redoubling of Saddam Hussein's efforts to destroy completely Kuwait and its people. I have therefore directed General Norman Schwarzkopf, in conjunction with coalition forces, to use all forces available, including ground forces, to eject the Iraqi army from Kuwait. I have complete confidence in the ability of the coalition forces swiftly and decisively to accomplish their mission. Tonight, as this coalition of countries seeks to do that which is right and just, I ask only that all of you stop what you were doing and say a prayer for all the coalition forces, and especially for our men and women in uniform, who this very moment are risking their lives for their country and for all of us. May God bless and protect each and every one of them, and may God bless the United States of America.
Our intention was purely to eject the Iraqis out of Kuwait and destroy the military power that had come in here. And I ought to talk about the 101st because this is an important point. Once the 101st had their forward operating base established here, they then went ahead and launched into the Tigris and Euphrates Valley. Ladies and gentlemen, when we were here, we were 150 miles away from Baghdad, and there was nobody between us and Baghdad. If it had been our intention to take Iraq, if it had been our intention to destroy the country, if it had been our intention to overrun the country, we could have done it unopposed for all intents and purposes from this position at that time.
Iraq's army is defeated. Our military objectives are met. Kuwait is once more in the hands of Kuwaitis in control of their own destiny. We share in their joy, a joy tempered only by our compassion for their ordeal. This is not a time of euphoria, certainly not a time to gloat, but it is a time of pride. Pride in our troops, pride in the friends who stood with us in the crisis, pride in our nation and the people whose strength and resolve made victory quick, decisive, and just. And soon, we will open wide our arms to welcome back home to America our magnificent fighting forces. Exactly 100 hours since ground operations commenced and 6 weeks since the start of Operation Desert Storm, all United States and coalition forces will suspend offensive combat operations. Let us be proud of what we have accomplished. Let us give thanks to those who risked their lives. May God bless our valiant military forces and their families, and let us all remember them in our prayers. Good night, and may God bless the United States of America.
After years of failed diplomacy, tensions were high in the Central American country of Panama. Almost 30,000 U.S. troops took action to bring justice.
And the reason we have a very intense hurricane, certainly one of the most powerful ones we've ever seen in the Atlantic Basin, winds now have been increased to 180 miles per hour. That makes it a very dangerous Category 5 hurricane.
Going up against bad guys who are armed and dangerous, and everything they do is combat focused.
Soldiers of the 101st Airborne Division keep up their combat skills in Kosovo. They belong to KFOR, the NATO force deployed to keep the peace. US troops are taking part in counterinsurgency operations along Kosovo's border, while also improving their own skills.
We have breaking news this out of downtown Manhattan. A plane has allegedly crashed into the World Trade Center.
Just a few moments ago, something believed to be a plane crashed into the World Trade Center. I just saw flames inside. You can see the smoke coming out of the tower. We have no idea what it was. It was a tremendous boom just a few moments ago. You can hear around me emergency vehicles heading towards the scene.
I was taking the garbage out of the building when we heard this roaring engines coming. We looked up and there was a plane. Next thing you know, we heard boom. We ran up to the corner and hit right into the World Trade Center.
Can you tell us what kind of an airplane is it?
It had to be a 737 and had to hit the World Trade Center. It was a big, big plane.
The 737 has crashed into, there's speculation at this point, but at least 3 floors taken out, crashed into the side of the building.
I'm on the roof of my building, which is about 5 blocks to the south of the World Trade Center. I'm looking right now at the World Trade Center. There's a massive gaping hole on the second tower. It's about 15 stories from the roof.
Oh my God almighty, the black smoke all over the place. I hope nobody, there's got to be somebody killed in it and poor people that went to work.
Another plane just hit. Oh my gosh, another plane has just hit another building. Flew right into the middle of it. Explosion. My God, it's right in the middle of the building.
Oh my goodness. Oh God. There's another one.
You gotta go. Go.
Oh my goodness, there's another one.
This seems to be on purpose.
Oh my goodness, now it's obvious, I think, that there's a second plane just crashed into the World Trade Center. I think we have a terror attack of proportions that we cannot begin to imagine at this juncture.
If you're taking a look now, you can see that we've just had another explosion, and that is considerably lower. And is that in the other building? Is that what I'm witnessing?
That apparently does look like it is in the other building.
You hate to say the words, but what comes to mind right now, terrorist attack. That is what it looks like at this point. This is something that you've seen on live television just unfolding. Haven't seen anything like this ever before develop on live television in New York.
There's another.
Oh no! Okay.
Explosion.
Explosions, multiple explosions, ladies and gentlemen. We just saw another explosion.
Oh my word! Oh my word! Somebody is doing this on purpose.
My God. My goodness. A second plane now has crashed into the other tower of the World Trade Center. Obviously, suicide, terrorist attack on the World Trade Center. What we have been fearing. What we have been fearing for the longest time here apparently has come to pass. A disastrous terrorist attack on the World Trade Center, both towers planes smashing into each one.
Both towers of the World Trade Center have been hit by aircraft. Both are in flames. Both suffered explosions.
A large airliner plunged into the Pentagon.
Another hijacked airliner, the third, flew across Washington, D.C., past the White House, and slammed into the Pentagon.
The scene that is eerily reminiscent of what we saw at the World Trade Center. Thick black smoke now emanating from the Pentagon.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We're looking at a live picture from Washington, and there is smoke pouring out of the Pentagon. It would appear that there has been another major explosion, this one in the nation's capital. You are looking at a scene of apparent blast aftermath. There is smoke in the air over the Pentagon.
Another aircraft, unbelievably, has crashed into the Pentagon. This is a preliminary wire. We'll seek to confirm this, but this word just into us from our newsroom, that perhaps another aircraft went in there. This is, I saw the tail of a large airliner get plowed right into the Pentagon.
At this point, the Pentagon, the White House, the Capitol, and the Treasury have been evacuated in Washington.
Bodies started dropping from the top floors of the tower closest to the highway. It was absolutely terrible. Obviously, they had two choices: to be burned in flames or to leap and end it all.
And a number of bodies have actually hit the pavement. Too many innocent people. People are jumping off the building. Body parts all over the place.
And then we saw the people jumping. We saw what we thought was debris, and we realized it was people jumping.
I've seen at least 10 people fall to their death.
People are jumping out the windows. Over there, they're jumping out the windows, I guess, because they're trying to save themselves. I don't know. Exchanges. Oh my God! Oh my God!
We're not sure exactly what happened. The entire top of the building just collapsed. You can see the plume of smoke is coming in our direction.
Literally, the top of it came down. There's debris everywhere. I had to do all I could to run to get away from all the debris. Me and a number of other people here are trapped. Devastating scene over here, something like I've never seen before.
A situation that started bad just gets worse and worse and worse. The World Trade Center, South Tower, busted by a plane and wrecked by an explosion approximately an hour ago, has totally collapsed.
Literally, people ran out of their shoes trying to get out of the way of this thing.
Plane crash in Somerset, Pennsylvania. We don't know if it's a big plane, a small plane, any relation to this. Plane down in Pennsylvania. Somerset County? Somerset County, right.
Yeah, get that map made.
another plane has crashed, this one about 80 miles south of Pittsburgh.
These are the first pictures we have in. This is from Somerset County, Pennsylvania. This is where the United Airlines Flight 93, this was a Boeing 757 bound from Newark, New Jersey to San Francisco. It crashed in Somerset County, Pennsylvania, near the town of Shanksville.
United 93, have you got information on that yet?
Yeah, he's down.
He's down?
Yes.
When did he land? Because we have information.
He did not land.
Oh, he's down?
We are getting information, according to the Associated Press, that there was a passenger on that flight who dialed 911, and he was calling emergency officials saying that he was being, quote, hijacked. We are being hijacked.
There was a soft-spoken, calm gentleman on the other end. He told me that there's 3 people that have taken over the flight. At that point, I asked him his name. He told me Todd Beamer. I feel that Todd played a great role in that, because when he told the guys, "Are you ready?" then they responded to him, and he said, "Okay, let's roll."
Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts. The victims were moms and dads, friends and neighbors. Thousands of lives were suddenly ended by evil, despicable acts of terror. The pictures of airplanes flying into buildings, fires burning, huge structures collapsing, have filled us with disbelief, terrible sadness, and a quiet, unyielding anger. These acts of mass murder were intended to frighten our nation into chaos and retreat. But they have failed. Our country is strong. A great people has been moved to defend a great nation. Terrorist attacks can shake the foundations of our biggest buildings, but they cannot touch the foundation of America. These acts shatter steel, but they cannot dent the steel of American resolve. America was targeted for attack because we're the brightest beacon for freedom and opportunity in the world, and no one will keep that light from shining. Today, our nation saw evil, the very worst of human nature, and we responded with the best of America, with the daring of our rescue workers, with the caring for strangers and neighbors who came to give blood and help in any way they could. Immediately following the first attack, I implemented our government's emergency response plans. Our military is powerful, and it's prepared. Our emergency teams are working in New York City and Washington, D.C. to help with local rescue efforts. Our first priority is to get help to those who have been injured and to take every precaution to protect our citizens at home and around the world from further attacks. The search is underway for those who are behind these evil acts. I've directed the full resources of our intelligence and law enforcement communities to find those responsible and to bring them to justice. We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbor them. I appreciate so very much the members of Congress who have joined me in strongly condemning these attacks. And on behalf of the American people, I thank the many world leaders who have called to offer their condolences, and we stand together to win the war against terrorism. Tonight, I ask for your prayers for all those who grieve, for the children whose worlds have been shattered, for all whose sense of safety and security has been threatened. And I pray they will be comforted by a power greater than any of us, spoken through the ages in Psalm 23. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. This is a day when all Americans from every walk of life unite in our resolve for justice and peace. America has stood down enemies before, and we will do so this time. None of us will ever forget this day, Yet we go forward to defend freedom and all that is good and just in our world. Thank you. Good night, and God bless America.